This NFL Week 8 pregame show edition of the Propcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign with promo code MACHINE to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM. Welcome everyone to the NFL Week 8 pregame show here, part of the Propcast. Full schedule of games here on Sunday. Found it curious that we didn't have any teams on bye weeks, but hey, that just means more football for us. But you guys know how we do it on the pregame show. We'll go through every single game, get you guys the updated lines, touch on some any significant injury news, and of course, give you guys our player props for each game. If we have any, we'll put together our touchdown parlay, and we'll get you guys ready for NFL Week 8, which we're 2 hours away from kickoff for the 1 o'clock window. But joining me here to help me break everything down on this pregame show, got my guy here with me. It's Lonte Smith. Lonte, what's going on, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. Another week of football. Beautiful day to do what we do. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Seems like the season's flying by, man. So, hoping to slow down a little bit here.
Yeah, approaching about the halfway point almost here for the NFL season. But, yeah, I mean, it just feels like that every single year that we're waiting for football to start, and then when it gets here, it just goes by really, really fast. So we got to enjoy these weeks here, and we got a lot to get into here, Lonte. So let's kick it off here with the first game on the board. We've got the Baltimore Ravens. They are in Cleveland to take on the Browns. Currently as stands, the Ravens are a 7.5-point favorite with a total of 44.5 here, Lonte. Any player props in this game?
Yeah, I like to. We'll start off with some negative first. I like Derrick Henry under 92.5. I know a lot of people gonna scoff at that, but it's minus 115. 7 of 12 running back ones or twos are under 50 yards versus Cleveland. So, despite the struggles of the offense, which should see an uptick today, defense has still been pretty good, especially against the run. They shut down Saquon. He had 18 for 47. They shut down Chase Brown, 15 for 44 in the last 2 weeks. In 5 career games versus Cleveland, Derrick Henry's under in all of those games, including last year. He had 11 carries for 20 yards with the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, this is a new offense that he's implemented into, but I still think Cleveland will be able to get to him and keep him under that 90. I mean, he can have 15 for 85, 90, and we still a cash out under. So I like under 92.5, minus 115 for Derrick Henry. Jameis Winston, over 235.5 passing yards. Yep. It's open significantly lower, but I mean, for obvious reasons, it's just I mean, Jameis is going to throw the ball. He's going to push the ball down the field. Baltimore has no Humphrey, no Wiggins in the secondary. If you look at some of the quarterbacks versus Baltimore, their numbers, I mean, Baker 370, Jaden Daniels 269, Burrow 392, Dak 379. I mean, Gardner Minshew threw for 276, so that's probably like 400 yards to an average quarterback. Mahomes threw for 291, and we see what he's doing as far as struggling to throw the ball. So I think Jameis Winston, if you want to ladder him up to 300 plus, I'll be doing that. But I just think that it's a perfect spot for him to get right and get this Cleveland offense right as well.
Yeah, 100% agree about the Jameis Winston one. I played this one myself as well, so I'm glad you're in lockstep there with me. Also played David Njoku in this game over on his receiving yards. I got it at 51.5 earlier this week, but at the current number of 57.5, I still like it here. I know it's shot up quite a bit there, but I think that he's going to be the main target here for Jameis Winston. Last week, he finished the game, I believe, was 71 receiving yards. He had 14 targets last week, did David Njoku, and obviously with the departure, of Amari Cooper there, I think that he's just going to gobble up all those all the targets there. So I do like him at 57.5 to get up and over the number on his receiving yards prop. Anything else for this game, Monte?
No, that's it. All we had to.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's get over to the Tennessee Titans. They are in Detroit to take on the Lions. Lions currently sitting as a 12-point favorite in this game with a total of 44.5. I believe it's Mason Rudolph starting here for the Tennessee Titans. So let me double check that here. But Lonte, what do you got for player props in this game?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's Mason Rudolph. But I don't have much in here. Maybe I was gonna go with Tim Patrick overs because of Jameson Williams suffered a suspension.
Yeah.
but it's a ton of uncertainty in this game, so I'm going to stay away. But if I had to play anything, I would play Tim Patrick over and Amon-Ra St. Brown under. I think the Tennessee defense is severely underrated simply because the offense just can't produce. But with Rudolph, their ceiling is a little bit, or their floor is a little bit higher. So if I had to play anything, I would play St. Brown under and Tim Patrick over. I just think they'll have a good plan for St. Brown. Secondary for Tennessee is pretty good, but yeah, I didn't play anything in this game, but those are the two that I looked at. I'm just kind of waiting for Rudolph to get inserted in. I mean, I heard that he was going to start, but again, I mean, you never know with these NFL injury reports.
I kind of swore, I think when we talked about it last week on the pregame show that Will Levis was going to be out for a couple of weeks with that shoulder injury, but I guess that's not the case. But I am seeing Mason Rudolph to start at quarterback this week is what I am seeing here. So I did play Tyler Boyd in this game here. Lonte over 40. Sorry, not 40. I got at 35.5. It's ticked down at 34.5. So if you want to get that better number, it's again what I've talked about a lot. I think almost every single week, just slot wide receivers against the Detroit Lions. Going to probably anticipate the Titans playing from behind in this game.
Yep.
With the 12-point spread, obviously, but slot wide receivers, every single slot wide receiver against the Lions has gone up and over their receiving yards number. I think Tyler Boyd last week had 41 yards for the Titans, and then also with the departure of DeAndre Hopkins, and I think Calvin Ridley is out for this game here as well. So somebody's going to get all those targets and the yardage there. So I'm looking at Tyler Boyd. Last week he had 5 receptions on 5 targets. 43 receiving yards, and I think in his career against the Lions, I think this is one game here. Let me just double check here. Tyler Boyd, this was back in 2017, 5 receptions, 39 receiving yards. They had one game, and there were 1-7 there. So, yeah, I like him to get the usage in this game here. So I did play that up and over for him at 35.5. Like I said, you could get at 34.5. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's get over to the Packers and the Jaguars. Jaguars currently catching 4 points at home here. Coming off of 2 weeks in London, they will be hosting the Packers. Total is sitting at 49 in this game here, Lonte. The books are expecting this to be one of the higher scoring games of the week, but do you got any player props in here?
Yeah, I like Jaden Reed over 57.5 receiving yards, minus 113. You probably can find 56.5 at minus like 118. I think that's good as well. He's been a bit banged up, which probably explains why he only had 8 catches for 38 yards combined the last 2 weeks. But it wasn't a shortage of targets. So he had 10 targets in that span. Jags defense, bottom 5 in pass defense, DVOA. They play a ton of man coverage. I think LaFleur scheme up some things against that man coverage, especially early on. So Jordan Love should see some success here in the secondary. Hopefully Reed is a little bit healthy. I thought this probably should be 6-7 yards higher than what it is now. I mean, if you want to add brushing in there, he takes those little handoff screens around the edge. If you want to throw that in there as well, I don't hate that. But I think Jaden Reed has a decent day today against that Jag secondary.
Yeah, it's correlated to what I do like in this game. Jordan Love to go over his passing yards. I mean, you just take a look how bad this defense has been for the Jacksonville Jaguars, in particular the pass defense. Every single quarterback has gone over this projection against them, except for 2 quarterbacks, which is Deshaun Watson. You know how bad of a season he was having throwing the football. He only had 186, but he did have 34 passing attempts. And then the only other quarterback was Caleb Williams in that first London game in week 6. 226 in that game, but he did throw for 4 touchdowns in that game. But he also had 23 completions on 29 pass attempts. If you also want to take a look at Jordan Love's completions in this game here, Lonte, that number is sitting at 23.5. We've had at least 22 completions for every single quarterback this season against the Jaguars, and they're giving up an average of 285 passing yards per game. So I do expect this to be one of the higher scoring games. I think the books agree with me there as well. Looking at the updated number right now, it's at 268.5. So I would not be surprised if he does have 275 plus, possibly even 300 passing yards in this game for Jordan Love. So I do see Travis Etienne is going to be out for this game. So it's going to be the Tank Bigsby show again for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you want to consider him, whether it's in your fantasy teams or whether if you actually do want to play him in at least as far as his yardage goes, Let me see what the Packers have.
Yeah, I like the rush defense. I was waiting for this. It was kind of it was off the board for a while because ETN was kind of questionable. He was in, he was out. Green Bay rush defense is pretty weak. 90+ yard rusher allowed in 4 of the last 6 games. So Bigsby
4.6 per carry.
Yeah, Bigsby should have a decent day. I didn't see a number posted.
Let's see if they posted one here before we move it along. I see 65.5.
Yeah, I like that over.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's get over to the next game on the schedule. We'll go over to the Indianapolis Colts. They are in Houston to take on the Texans here. Texans currently laying 5 points at home in this division matchup. Total of 45 here. Lonte, Nico Collins looks like he'll be back in week 10, but he won't not be playing in this week 8 matchup. We're on a short week. We have the division game here, and then we go to the MetLife Stadium on Thursday to take on the Jets here. So we're in the span, I believe, of 3 games in 10 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's in December. I'm sorry. But short week here. What do you got?
Yeah, so 2 things that I think are correlated, both overs. Like CJ Stroud, over 240.5 passing yards, minus 115. He's coming off his worst game of his young career, probably the worst game of his whole career. That was pretty bad last week. Yeah. He's also under 200 yards in back-to-back games. But in comes this Indianapolis secondary who's been really weak. They faced weak passing attacks the last 2 games. Huntley, a mixture of Huntley and Thompson, and then they faced Levis. But when they've stepped them in class, they've been shredded. Caleb Williams, 363. Justin Fields, 312. Trevor Lawrence, 371. And if you look at career numbers, a short sample size, obviously, CJ Stroud's averaging 294 a game in his career versus Indianapolis, and that's including the 234 in week 1. And I thought he could have soared over that. He had a couple drops in that game as well. But with the mixture of this secondary and CJ Stroud coming in a little bit ticked off, I think he's going to have a big day against his secondary. Also, like Tank Dell, over 54.5 receiving yards. He had 3 for 40 on 7 targets in week 1. That was with Nico. He was catchless last week, so I'm kind of just playing that narrative as well. I think him and Stroud will hook up a couple of times. Indianapolis struggles. I think we say it every week. They struggle against wide receiver 1s and 2s. I don't know what you want to classify Tank Dell as in this situation, but either way, I think he'll have a good day here. He should see north of 10 targets. By my numbers, I think he should see. I have him at 9 for 78. So I think this number has room to grow. I'll probably be laddering both of these guys up to I'll probably do CJ Stroud 300+ and then Dale 100+ just to see what we can get there. But I like both of those guys to have success here.
Yeah, kind of waiting for that Tank Dell breakout game, right? Because
it's coming today.
Yeah, it feels like it. We need it, right? Because again, the offense does not look very good. Last week, nothing against Packers. 4 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. But yeah, I think that today might be a good breakout game. Let's consider Joe Mixon in this game. I mean, he's just been absolutely phenomenal since he's returned from injury. Looks like he didn't miss a beat for this Texans team. He's played in 4 games. 3 of the 4 games, he's had 100+ rushing yards. And now you're going up against a Colts rush defense that's given up 125 yards per game on the ground, 4.42 yards per carry. That number should be bigger because DeAndre Swift and the Bears running back group there ran for 25 times, but only accumulated to 59 yards. And then the following week, I talked a lot about Najee in that game. He just absolutely let me down. But Cordero Patterson had a lot of success in that game. I think that was the game where Patterson got injured, but he had 6 for 43 on 7.17 yards per carry. But since then, Lonte, Tank Bigsby, 13 for 101. Tony Pollard, 17 carries, 93 rushing yards. And then last week, we saw Devon Achane, 1577. Raheem Mostert got in there for 11 for 50. And then Jalen Wright, 5 for 33. So I think this might be a game where it could be, I think, a higher scoring game between these 2 teams. So again, at some point, we're going to see this Texans offense outside of that game against the Patriots just look like the offense that we're expecting. So I think it could be carried by the heavy hitters in this game here for the Texans. So give out Joe Mixon there. All right, let's keep it moving along here. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Bengals currently laying 2.5 points in this game with a total of 47.5. I didn't have anything for this game here, Lonte. You got anything for Eagles, Bengals?
I do. I think I got one thing. Hold on real quick. I'm trying to just scroll my spreadsheet real quick. Yeah, so one of my favorite ones is National Tight End Day, of course. So we're going to go with Calcaterra, over 23.5 receiving yards. He's over in 2 of his last 3. Hurts only had 14 pass attempts in his last game. I mean, they didn't have to throw the ball much. But if you look at what tight ends have been able to do against the Bengals, you got Njoku 10 for 76, Theo Johnson 3 for 30. Kohler and Andrews both went over their passing. I mean, their receiving yards prop. So I think Kohler had 64, Andrews 55. Ertz 5 for 38, Hooper 31, likely had 2 touchdowns. So I think it's a big day for Calcaterra. I'm probably gonna take it anytime touchdown, first touchdown. I know Sean will be happy to hear that. So let's hope that comes to fruition. But I do like Calcaterra to kind of have a decent day. I'll probably be laddering him up as well. I'm looking at Jamar Chase, but like I don't know about the deal with T. Higgins. So I want to wait to see if he's ruled in before, or has he been ruled in? Do you know?
So the last
He
report
popped
I
up on the
saw
injury
was
report on
that
Friday. I know.
yeah, the last report I saw that it was an uphill battle for him to play this week.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll probably just stay away. But wide receiver ones have done pretty well against Philadelphia. 80 plus yards allowed for them, or 80 yards allowed for them in 4 of their last 6. I think that they should be fine. I think Chase should be fine here. Obviously, he's going to get force fed with Higgins being out. Both Cincinnati tight ends were targetless last week, so I didn't see an Eric All prop, but I would go with Eric All overs receiving and receptions. I just didn't see it, but yeah, those are the 3 that or 4 that I'm kind of considering. The only one that I've actually played is the Calcaterra one.
Let's see the updated numbers. Yeah, nothing yet for Eric All.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Or Gesicki, I didn't see anything for him either.
Yeah, I don't see anything for him just yet. So I think they're just kind of waiting for that official
Yeah,
news.
yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah, I didn't see it. I seen the Chase number, but I thought it was high relative to if Higgins was playing. So it's probably going to be a little bit higher if he's out.
All right, let's get over to the New York Jets. They are in Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. Jets currently laying 7 points in this game, total of 41. Lonte, another game I didn't have a lot here for. Did you have anything?
Yeah, I got a ton here for you, man. Drake May over 205.5 passing yards. This took money like to the under significant. I think it opened like 213.5. But I'll gladly take this. He's 276 and 243 in his first 2 starts. He's got 70 combined attempts in that span as well. Secondary banged up. I know the guys are going to give it a go, but I don't think they're quite 100%. A 7-point dog at home, likely in a negative game script. I mean, Drake May's shown he's capable of doing it. He just doesn't have a lot around him, especially on the offensive line. So if you want to take his, I took his passing and rushing yards combined to go over. So if you want to take that as well, I don't hate that. I think you'll have a decent day. I mean, if they get down, obviously they're going to be throwing the ball. So I think 205.5 is way short. I would make this north of 215, 216. And let's go to one of my favorite ones on National Tight End game. We're going to go Hunter Henry over 3.5 receptions, plus 110. I like that laddered up as well. If you want to go 5-6 receptions, I don't hate that. Over 33.5 receiving yards as well. I think that's minus 112-ish. He's had 3+ catches in both games with May, over his yards in both of those as well. 14 targets in that span. And if you look at tight ends against this Jets defense, Freiermuth 2 for 51, Kincaid 6 for 51, Kittle 4 for 40. So decent volume. All of those surpassed the numbers expect for Freiermuth with the 2 catches. But I think Hunter Henry is primed for a good day, especially in the middle of that field against those linebackers.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's get over to the Atlanta Falcons. They are in Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. Currently, this number is sitting at minus 2.5, down to minus 1.5 now for the Atlanta Falcons. Total of 46.5. And obviously, the news for the Buccaneers are going to be down their top 2 wide receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Seems like the other guys will have to step up in this spot. These 2 teams played, I believe it was week 5 on that Thursday night football game.
Yep, they did.
Where Falcons walked it off in the overtime game there. But minus 1.5 in favor of the Falcons here. Lonte, what do you got?
Yeah, do you have anything updated for Tampa's secondary? Are some of those guys back? I saw it was kind of questionable, and then I was reading reports early through the week. It was kind of just in and out of practices.
Let me see. Tampa Buccaneers injuries. So we have so I don't see anybody on there. Oh, yeah, you said for Atlanta?
Yeah, no, for Tampa.
Tampa, I see only guys that are out are Mike Evans,
Just offensive
Tyke,
guys.
Tyke Smith. Is that his name you're
Yeah,
looking
Taki Smith.
for?
Yeah, yeah,
He's safety. He's in concussion, so he's out. But everybody else is a
yeah.
go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins under his passing yards. I think they'll be able to run the ball on Tampa. I don't think he'll have to. I think it's a big Bijan, Algier type of game. So I would stay under his number. I think he'll limit the pass attempts. They'll probably just keep it on the ground, maybe some short stuff. Although London and Mooney did have 100 plus yards, but that was with like shootout wise, with when Tampa was fully healthy. I think the game will be a little bit slowed down if Tampa wants to kind of stay in it. I don't think they want to get in a shootout with the lack of weapons that they have. So I'll take
right.
Kirk Cousins under his passing yards. Uh, Also, man, Rashad White, he's back. 65 and a half rushing receiving yards. I think that's way too low. Dual threat backs have been extremely successful versus Atlanta. I mean, he had 68 in the first meeting. Bucky Irvin banged up. I think he has a toe injury. Probably not going to go. So he should see an uptick in his touches. Him and Sean Tucker will likely split. He's over in 3 straight. I think it's a good spot for Rashad White. I think this number is way too low. I think he should get to like 75, 80 plus with the injuries to the Tampa receiving core, the familiarity here. I think he has a big day.
Yeah, limited in practice was Bucky Irving on Friday with that toe injury, like you mentioned there. So I would definitely look at Rashad White in this game, receiving yards. He's been he was profitable. I think this was last season. We talked about it a lot with Rashad White on his receiving yards. Yeah. I like Cade Otton in this game here as well, over 45 and a half. I was on him last week in that Monday Night Football game. I did get up and over his number. Just one of the sure hands, at least for sure, on this Buccaneers team without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there. His number sitting at 45 and a half. Looks like he's on the way to 46 and a half in this game. Agree about Bijan Robinson. If you want to look at maybe his receiving yards out of the backfield, I think that might be a good spot here as well. Trey Palmer did tweet out. He woke up pissed off this week. So if you know what that means, his number is sitting at 36 and a half for this
like
game
that.
here.
I like that.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a little bit of a low number here. So I'm going to be on those. Cade Otton over 45 and a half, and then Trey Palmer over 36 and a half for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anything else?
No, that's it. That's all I have.
All right, let's get over to the next game on the board. We got the Arizona Cardinals. They are in Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins currently laying 4 points in this game with a total of 46 and a half. Obviously, the big news in this game, we see the return of Tua back at quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill was battling the injury as well, but he's ready to go for this game here as one expected to play here. Not much for the Cardinals side. I know they were dealing with some injuries on the defensive side of the football. I'll try to look those up here, Lonte. But what do you got for this game?
Yeah, just one. I don't really know what to expect with Miami. I don't know if the game plan is going to change. I mean, Cheetah said, they're back high flying. So we saw some over money come in whenever he gave those comments out. So I want to see it first before I dive in on any of the Miami stuff. But I'm pretty sure Waddle and Hill are happy to have Tua back. I'm just hoping that he can stay upright for the rest of the season. But I like James Conner over 88 and a half rushing and receiving minus 115. If you look at some of the dual threat backs that that Miami's faced, Pollard 108, Charbonnet 107, James Cook 96. Connor's also over in 3 of his last 4. He's averaging 102.7 7 rush receiving yards in that 4-game stretch. So I think it's a good spot for him. He's probably been the only offense over the last month, to be honest with you. So maybe we see a lot of dump offs, a lot of handoffs to kind of shorten the game here and keep that Miami offense off on the sideline. So yeah, I'm going to take James Conner over 88 and a half rushing receiving yards minus 115.
Yeah, for the Cardinals, the only player I do see, or one of their secondary guys that's going to be out is Sean Murphy Bunting. He's dealing with a neck injury, so he's going to be out for this game. A couple of guys on the defensive line there as well, more depth guys than anything for the Cardinals side. I do like Tyreek Hill's longest reception over 27 and a half. I mean, I think that, like you mentioned, with Tua being back under center, I agree with him. I think that we'll start seeing the high-flying offense be back for this Dolphins team. So expect him to maybe get a shot down the field, or we know his elusiveness and his ability to break one out when he makes that catch here. So I do think that he can get it's a big number for Tyreek Hill, but rightfully so, because a lot of his catches do come on those long down the field throws from Tua. Other than that, I didn't have much for this game. So we can move it along The next game on the board, we'll go to the 4:05 Eastern start time window. We got the Buffalo Bills. They are in Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Seahawks catching 3 points at home with a total of 45. What do you got for this game here, Lonte? Bills, Seahawks.
Yeah, I got two good ones. Dalton Kincaid over 40.5 receiving yards, -115. Tight ends have had extreme success for Seattle. If you look at Kittle, 5 for 58, Theo Johnson, 5 for 48, Laporta, 4 for 53, Hunter Henry, 8 for 109, Pitts, 7 for 65. And Kincaid's over in 4 of 7, targeted 6+ times in 4 straight games. So he's getting the volume. I think another week of Amari Cooper adds another dynamic to the offense. So it'll be a lot more available underneath with Coleman on one side, Shakir on the other side, along with Cooper. So a lot of that underneath stuff will be handled by Kincaid. I think Josh Allen will make a concerted effort to get him the ball. So I like Kincaid over 40.5 receiving yards. If you want to take him anytime touchdown, I know we'll talk about that as well, but I like that as well. And I'm going to go Geno Smith over 23.5 completions. I think this is way too low. Bills run the top 5 rate of too high safety. So a lot of zone concepts. They don't blitz much. Geno's over in 5 of 7. He's averaging 31 completions in those 5 games. So no DK. So a lot of the deep threat is gone. I mean, I guess you can say Lockett is a deep threat, but I think him and JSN are more possession receivers. So we should see a lot of short stuff. Obviously, the defense is going to allow them to dink and dunk and then kind of hunker down in the red zone. So I think Geno over 23.5 completions is way too low. Probably one of my favorite looks of the day.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit correlated with what I like. Kenneth Walker over on his receiving yards.
Yep, let's do it.
Current numbers at 25.5 right now. Looks like it's on the move again, but talked a lot about opposing running backs against the Buffalo Bills. Bills, I believe, are allowing the second most receiving yards to the running back position. Just last week, I think the only one on the season that didn't get over this number was Tony Pollard, shockingly. But outside of that, Brees Hall, 56 receiving yards. Daria Gumbawale for the Texans, 57. We talked about Justice Hill in week 4 at 78. Travis Etienne didn't get there, but Devon Achane, 69 receiving yards. And then James Conner had 33. And then Imari DiMaccardo also had 26 receiving yards against the Bills out of the backfield there. So 4 straight weeks that Kenneth Walker III has had 24 or more receiving yards. I'd like him to, again, be involved in that passing game as well. Outside of that, I agree with your Dalton Kincaid one. If you want to look at James Cook as well out of the backfield, he's been involved in the passing game as well. So, yeah, a couple of those that I am considering, or I did play in this game, but for sure I did play Kenneth Walker. And then I'll take a look more at Dalton Kincaid for this game for the Buffalo Bills side of things. Let's move it along here to the New Orleans Saints. They are in LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers currently laying 7 in this game. So I believe it was 7.5 early in the week, but that number's at 7 right now. Total of 41 here, Lonte. Anything that you like in this game?
One thing I like is, let me see, what am I looking at? Alvin Kamara over 80. What is this? I'm trying to get it updated. Is it 87.5 rushing and receiving? DC 87.5 rushing and receiving. I just want to make sure we got the
receiving for Kamara is,
I think it's 87,
89.5 on DraftKings, but definitely shop around, get the best number.
Yeah, but yeah, so we'll take 89.5. I mean, he's coming off his worst game of the season, probably of his career as well. 13 touches for 24 yards. Offense was pretty much as bad as it could get. They're getting some reinforcements this week. They're going to get, especially on offense. He was over in the first 4 games, and now he's under in the last 3. And if you look at what dual threat backs of his caliber have done versus this Clippers versus this Chargers offense, Connor 152, Kareem Hunt and Najee Harris had 86, Chuba Hubbard had 76, and I guess it's good to know that a lot of those games, like Hubbard was in a negative game script, still had 76. Kareem Hunt, positive game script. Najee Harris, positive game script, and they still were able to go over their respective numbers. Obviously, it's under what Kamara is, but I think he'll be the focal point of the offense to get things going. They can't stack the box with Olave being back. Hill is back as well. Got some offensive line guys coming back. So I think the offense looks a lot better. I actually think New Orleans is live to win that game. So let's go Kamara over 89.5 rushing receiving yards.
I didn't have much for this game. If you want to take a consideration on Spencer Rattler over on his rushing yards, I think that he's going to have to start utilizing his legs a little bit more. He's done that over the past 2 starts for the Saints. I think there's another opportunity again with, I believe, Joey Bosa is back for this game here for the Chargers. So I think that, again, when you have that type of player breathing down your neck, you're going to have to utilize your legs a little bit. He's at 20.5 on his rushing yards. Just see what he's done over the last 2 weeks. I know he had 20 plus against the Denver Broncos a couple of weeks ago on that, or last week I said again, Thursday Night Football. Let's see here. So yeah, 34 against the Denver Broncos, and then he had 27 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So definitely making the most of those opportunities, utilizing his legs. So over 20.5 rushing yards for him. I do like that. Outside of that, that's all I had for this game here. All right, let's move it along here to the Kansas City Chiefs. They are in Vegas to take on the Raiders. Raiders are currently catching 8.5 points in this game with a total of 42. Lonte in this game, and it's belt to ass week for Patrick Mahomes to take it to the Raiders. But what do you got for this game?
Yeah, man, I got all the Patrick Mahomes ladders you can find, man. All the Patrick Mahomes ladders you can find. He made those comments. My eyes lit up. I went straight to the sports books apps and put all overs I can get on. And also along with that, Xavier Worthy over 48.5 receiving yards. I like him 100 plus. I'll be laddering him all the way up to 100 plus. Like his longest reception over. Like, I think it's a big day for the Kansas City offense. Obviously, getting Nuke Hopkins in, he'll take away some of that underneath stuff, him and Travis Kelce. The Vegas runs a ton of man-to-man at a high rate. They also have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL, grade-wise and just looks-wise. They just can't cover anybody. He's only over, Worthy is only over twice this year, but due to the scheme that Vegas runs and, the injuries along with Hopkins coming in, I think he has a get right spot. If you look at some of the receivers of his caliber, Tutu Atwell had 51, Austin had 36, Lil Jordan Humphreys had 45, Jerry Jeudy 72, Leggett 42, Flowers 91. So I think he fits that kind of mold in the slot to kind of get things going here. And I think they get him going early. I think they'll probably take a shot first play. So I like him first touchdown scorer as well. So all over Xavier Worthy, over 38.5 receiving yards. Also like Patrick Mahomes, whatever you can get. Ladder him all the way up to 325, 350. He might throw for 400 on these guys.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time we were able to get it over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes, around minus 120. But again, I think that's understandable because he hasn't thrown a passing touchdown over the last 2 weeks. And that's very un-Patrick Mahomes-like. And of course, a lot of that has to do with a lack of weapons there. But I did see a note that DeAndre Hopkins will play a significant amount of snaps in this game for the Chiefs. So now you have your weapons out there that he can have a big game, right? Now you have Hopkins, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, you mentioned, Kareem Hunt, and even those backup tight ends for this Chiefs team with Noah Gray, Justin Watson. I think that they'll be able to put together a solid game plan. I think Patrick Mahomes does go off. So I played over 1.5 passing touchdowns when that number came out. The passing yards, I believe it opened at 235.5 for Patrick Mahomes. It's up to 237.5. But again, I think this is a game where he does get 300 passing yards. Yeah. Trying to see what the alt numbers are. I'm currently using DraftKings for this, but let's see here. Mahomes. So over 250.5 plus 130, over 265.5 plus 195, over 295.5 is at plus 450. So hopefully it's a 300-yard passing game for Patrick Mahomes in this game. And I think this is the last 6 times that the Chiefs have played against the Raiders in Vegas. Those victories have come by the scores of a 7, 18, 4, 27, 18, and 14. So I think this is going to be another game where we do see an opportunity for Patrick Mahomes to, like he mentioned, he's going to handle it. And when he's going to handle it, that week is, of course, here. And now that since we're on that topic, Lonte, I'm curious to see what Tua's passing yards is in this game. No, Tua's passing yards.
Just joking.
So I'm gonna put a parlay in of Tua over 280.5 passing yards and Patrick Mahomes over 295.5 passing yards. that 2-pick parlay pays you close to 16-1.
That's love. I like that. I'm about to
Yeah.
put that in right now, actually.
Yeah, over 280.5 for Tua and over 295.5 for Mahomes. It's plus 1577 is the exact number on DraftKings. But again, like we always say, definitely shop around and get the best number. But yeah, all over Patrick Mahomes in this game here for his passing yards and passing touchdowns. Anything else for this game?
That's it.
All right, Carolina Panthers, they are in the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. Broncos currently laying 11 points in this game with a total of 41. Bryce Young back under center for the Carolina Panthers with the injury that Andy Dalton suffered. Thankfully, it was nothing serious because him and his family got in a car accident that led to I believe it was a thumb injury for Andy Dalton. So thankfully, nothing serious for them. But right now, Broncos laying 11 points in this game here. Lonte, I have 2 props on the Denver side, but I'll let you lead it off.
Yeah, man. Listen, I pride myself on being a good person. I feel like I was raised right. I don't like kicking people while they're down. But Bryce Young under 161 passing yards. He's under in both starts on a high volume of attempts. He also was in negative game scripts in both of those games. Denver secondary, one of the best in the league. They're getting Sartain is back, if I'm not mistaken. And if you, I think he's back. Even if he's not back, it's still fine. I mean, Carolina's missing Deontay Johnson. They got offensive line issues. I just don't think this is a good spot for Bryce, missing his best wide receiver, going against an elite secondary. I actually think that Carolina would be more successful just running the ball like 45 times here. I think they're not putting Bryce Young in the way. I kind of would parlay that with Bryce Young over 10.5 rushing yards. So, I don't want to kick him too bad while he's down. So, Bryce Young under 161 passing yards. I guess I'll play his over 10.5 rushing yards as well. I think it's a little bit correlated. And for the Denver side, man, I know, listen, everybody and their grandmother love Troy Franklin here. And I guess I'm going to join the party. I like him as well. I like his over 15.5 longest reception, over 29.5 receiving yards, minus 115. He's over in 3 straight. Carolina's allowing the 8th most deep pass yards to wide receivers. Franklin's got a good rapport with Bo Nix. They played in college together. Should be an increased role without Josh Reynolds, who prayers up for him, got shot in the head. So glad he's hopefully he's going to do better. But I think this is a great spot for Troy Franklin. I mean, one catch and we can go over both of these. And a lot of his targets have been on the deep side. Carolina can't cover, and they can't cover me or you. So I like Troy Franklin. His over longest reception, 15.5, over 29.5 receiving yards. Let's ladder him all the way up to 100 plus. I think he can have a monster game.
Yeah, I think the 2 ones, Bo Nix rushing yards, I like. And I like both rushing yards in this game, Bo Nix and Javonte Williams. I think that, honestly, the Denver Broncos just run it 45 times, honestly.
I guess, and that was a counter to me not. Yeah, that was a counter to playing that is, they could just both run the ball and get out of there.
Yeah. But, I mean, you take a look how bad this Panthers defense overall has been, like you mentioned, but also how bad their rush defense has been as well, allowing 4.7 yards per carry just over the last 2 weeks. Lonte, just to put the numbers in perspective here, Bijan 15 for 95 rushing yards, Tyler Algier 18 for 105, and then last week Brian Robinson Jr. 12 carries for 71 yards, Jeremy McNillis 7 for 42, 6.06 yards per carry for the Commanders. Sorry, for the Falcons, 5.65 for the Commanders last week. So I think this is going to be a game where Javonte Williams has a big outing. I know he's done pretty well over his last couple weeks here as well. I think it was the last game against the Saints where he went for, I want to say it was 88 rushing yards or something in that neighborhood, but let me just double check here.
Sound right.
But nonetheless, I will be honest over here. Yeah, I think I would ladder this up to 100, honestly, for Javonte Williams. He had 88 last week with 2 total touchdowns for the Denver Broncos. His official number is sitting at 64.5. So I do like that. I think that's going to be a ladder for me up in this game. You have anything else for this game?
Javonte hometown team, so he's gonna try to put it on him. Is what I've heard from people around him.
What do you mean hometown team? Like he's from
He,
Colorado?
he yeah, he's from North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's the Panthers. Okay, okay, got you. All right. The game that got flexed into the 425 window seems like all indications right now, or I should say, pointing was the official report that I saw, was Jaden Daniels will be playing today for the Commanders as they are hosting Caleb Williams and the number one overall pick with the Chicago Bears there. Mine has now flipped in favor of the Commanders with that news, -1 right now with a total of 46 here, Lonte. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I was anticipating that he wasn't going to play. I mean, the number was -2.5, so that definitely
Yeah,
was a Mariota number. But so let me ask you: Did Terry McLaurin's receiving yards change? Is it still 54.5?
I'm pretty sure it probably did change here, but let me
Yeah,
just
I'm
double
assuming so.
check. Because sometimes the books adjust the
Hmm.
side and total, but sometimes they forget to adjust the player props.
Yeah. Well,
But
hopefully they did
let's
adjust this
see.
one.
The updated number is where'd he go? 55.5. So not a much of an adjustment at
Yeah,
all.
I like under. If he's going to see a lot of Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, one of the better cornerbacks in the league. If you look at some of the wide receiver ones, twos, whatever you want to call them, I mean, he shut down Brian Thomas, 27 yards. Deontay Johnson for Carolina, 23 yards. Tutu Atwell and Nico Collins kind of had a decent day. A lot of their work was done in the slot. He's more on the outside. And if I'm not mistaken, Nico was in the slot for most of that. So I think he got a little bit of that, but not all of it. Calvin Ridley, 50 yards. Michael Pittman, 36 yards. So I think he'll be in full effect here. He'll be shadowing McLaurin. I would look at other players to kind of go off on Washington. Is Jaden Daniels healthy? I don't know how he's going to push the ball down the field. I know it was a rib injury, so he takes a
Yeah.
couple hits here and there. Could sway him. So I'd like taking on under 55.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I feel like if he's gonna throw the football, we may see a lot of stuff going to Austin Eckler.
Like that.
On like his receiving yards. I know he's been crushing it on his receiving yards here. Let me just double check what he's been doing because his number right now is sitting at 20.5 for Austin Eckler. Last week he only had 2 receptions on 2 targets for 3 yards, but did he really need them? But outside of that, prior to last week, I'll say this: every single game he had played in, he had more than 21 receiving yards here. So I think this might be a game or an opportunity for him to kind of get back to the way he was contributing in his offense. Excuse me, for his receiving yards out of the backfield there. So I think that's pretty much all I really had in this game. Yeah. All right. So we'll move it to the Sunday night football game. The Dallas Cowboys, they are in the Bay Area to take on the Niners. Currently, as it stands, the Niners are a 5-point favorite in this game with a total of 46.5 is the number that I saw. Let me double check here. 47 now is the number. Obviously, that's with the news of Debo Samuel saying, or indications are he's going to play in this game. George Kittle there as well. I know they're going to be without Brandon Ayuk now with a torn ACL, unfortunately. Dallas Cowboys coming off of the bye week. Lonte in a game where they got thrashed by the Detroit Lions. So we'll see how they respond coming out of the bye week here. But any player props for this game?
Yeah, I got nothing for this game, man. Too much uncertainty. I don't know what Debo and Kittle are going to look like. Sands, they've been out. Debo was fighting pneumonia. Kittle ankle injury. One wrong turn could twist that. I would look at maybe some Jordan Mason stuff. Maybe they just run the ball and just get out of there. So I'll maybe look at Brock Purdy under passing yards. Maybe they just try to run the ball a ton. Dallas without Parsons, without Lawrence Steele. So should be a pathway. I'm pretty sure Kyle's going to scheme something up. A lot of Debo runs, a lot of outside zone stuff. So outside of that, man, I didn't have much in this game. I'm probably just watch it, enjoy it. I bet the Cowboys plus 4.5. So I hate myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be it's the spot really for the Cowboys in this game here. I think I may get there to the window with them as well on that +5. Trying to see how Jake Ferguson has done. Maybe a little bit of a pivot away from CD Lamb against the 49ers here. Not much. Just was back last year. 3 receptions, 3 targets, 28 receiving yards. But but George Kittle, I believe, has now scored a touchdown, and I think it's like 5 straight weeks for the 49ers. Sorry, yeah, for the 49ers. Rico Dowdle coming out of the backfield. I think he's trying to. I mean, I think you and I talked about this last week or the week prior that he's just pretty much turning into the number one target.
Yeah.
So I might get on his receiving yards in this game. I think that might be worth a look in this game here as well. But outside of that, I'll dig a little bit more into it as far as player props because, like you mentioned, the uncertainty that we had for the 49ers side of things with Debo and George Kittle. Usually don't cover Monday Night Football, but your Giants are in action. Do you have anything for this game, Giants Steelers?
Take the points with the Giants, and I hate and keep in mind, I don't really bet on the Giants a lot. Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh should be laying this big of an almost a touchdown. I mean, they were fortunate last week to win that game. Giants look horrible, but at home they are a horrible team. On the road, they're a different team. I mean, the last time they were on the road, upset Seattle in a hostile environment. Obviously, a hostile environment here, but I just don't think that Pittsburgh should be laying this big of a number. I mean, a little bit of an overreaction. Daniel Jones. I mean, Andrew Thomas being out really is
all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Andrew Thomas being out is really like messing with Daniel Jones. And Brian Daboll's he's going to be benched. I mean, he should be benched, but Daboll's kind of sticking with him. But yeah, I'll take the points, but I don't have anything prop wise.
All right, so that is the last game for the Sunday, or sorry, the NFL Week 8 card, I should say. Let's do our touchdown parlay for this week here, Lonte. Like you mentioned, it's National Tight Ends Day.
You want to do two? You want to do one with tight ends and then one regular?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do one without tight ends, and then we'll do an all tight end touchdown parlay here. So I'm looking for the number on, and I'm hoping it's not a minus price, but it probably is for Javonte Williams. Just because running backs, there's been at least one rushing touchdown.
Yep.
Where is he at? So let's see. Yeah, he's minus 115. All right, what do you got? What do you like? Who do you like to find the end zone?
Is Bigsby a minus number? I'm pretty sure he is. He's probably a hefty number too, like minus 130-ish.
Bigsby is minus 120.
Yeah, too big. Let's go with. Damn.
You like Tank Dell this week, right?
I do like Tank Dell. You
like to find the end zone?
Yeah, let's do it. I like Tank Dell.
All right, plus 180.
I like Worthy as well. I like Worthy to find the end zone.
Yeah.
He should be a big price.
Yeah, he'll be a big price. Let's see. Xavier Worthy.
And we can get it on the ground or through the air with him.
Plus 185.
Yeah, I like that. You like Hill, but I know Hill's probably minus, right? Cheetah?
Plus 120.
Yeah, you like him, right?
Yeah, I like him. I think obviously if he scores a touchdown this week, we won't see a plus price for the rest of the season as long as Tua's in there. So we'll throw him in there. So that's 3 wide receivers.
If you want a sneaky running back, where is he at? Hold on, I'm trying to find him.
Kamara's plus 130.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, we got to throw him in there. That's insane. Plus 130.
Yeah, that's all on DraftKings right now.
Yeah, we got to throw. I don't even need to look at anybody else. I was gonna say, what's my guy's name? I was gonna say Josh Jacobs, but yeah, that's too big. That's too good of a number. 130.
All right, so we'll go with those 4. Let's go. Yeah, Jacobs at minus 135.
Oh yeah,
find the end zone. Yeah. All right, so we'll go Tank Dell, Xavier Worthy, Tyreek Hill, and Alvin Kamara. That will get us to a hair above 39-1.
Yeah, we've been close, man. We got to hit parlay.
I know we've got like 3 out of the 4. I think there's like 1 week where we didn't get there, but let me put this on the graphic.
Do they let you round? Do books let you round robin touchdown scores or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I think it would be better if you. I mean, obviously you can split your unit however you want to do it, but I usually round robin our touchdown scores, so at least we're making something.
Yeah. I mean, if you hit 3 out of 4, I think you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially
the 2 big ones.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me get the odds up there first. bear with me for a second. All right, so the exact number is plus 39.37. All right. So our non-tight ends touchdown parlay this week is going to be Xavier Worthy, Alvin Kamara, Tank Dell, and Tyreek Hill. That gets you plus 39.37. And then we'll put together our all tight ends anytime touchdown parlay for this week. Let me clear this out. All right, Lonte, let's go tight ends. Where do you want to
Man,
start?
listen, bro. I like a bunch of tight ends. I'll let you choose. I like Sam Laporta. No Jameson Williams. I think he'll see a bunch of targets, especially in the red zone, over the middle of the field. He's only had 2 catches um for 22 yards. The
Mhm.
last two on target on 3 targets. So 77 yards. I'm sorry. So he should see an uptick in production. Positive game script versus Dallas, so no need to throw there. So that's why his numbers were so low. So I like Laporta, I like Hunter Henry, I like uh, I like Laporta, Hunter Henry, and Calcaterra. Those are my three. I'll let you dealer's choice on those.
I threw in Laporta, I threw in Hunter Henry, I throw in David Njoku,
That's fine. That's perfectly fine with me.
and then who's the last one you mentioned? Alcantara.
Um, yeah, I like Calcaterra or Kincaid. I'll let you dealer's choice with those. But I really like Calcaterra a ton. I like Calcaterra a ton.
Let's get spicy. Let's throw in Calcantara
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Hey, we'll get some
They
bonus points
are
from Sean.
plus 380. This one's gonna be really, really
Oh
spicy.
yeah, let's
Whoo!
do
All
it.
right. All right. So we've got let me start a new banner here. All right. So all tight end touchdown, anytime touchdown parlay, I should say. All tight end. If I could type this morning. Parlay. All right. So we've got Calcantara. We've got Laporta. We've got Njoku and Hunter Henry. All right, Lonte, I'm gonna let you guess what this comes out to before I post it.
Uh, 95-1.
254 to 1 is going to be the
Let's
all
go.
tight end touchdown
Let's go.
parlay
Let's go.
for this for
Let's
our
go.
all touchdown parlay here. So again, Calcantara, Sam Laporta, David Njoku, Hunter Henry, 254 to 1
It's
is
our
the
last show
official.
if we hit this.
Yeah. And then we have our other anytime touchdown parlay, the appetizer here with Xavier Worthy, Alvin Kamara, Tank Dell, and Tyreek Hill at 39 to 1, a little bit above that for our touchdown parlay for this week. Got a couple minutes here. Let's check out some rhythm um, projections here for this week. Again, shout out to Rhythm. Do an absolutely fantastic job with their projections. I mean, honestly, all throughout the season, not only for football, but also their models are up also for the NBA season that just tipped off here as well. So take a look at some here. Let me get to their best prop section. So they do like Trevor Lawrence to go under his receiving yards, passing yards of 236 and a half. They do like Baker Mayfield over on his passing yards at 222 and a half. They like Caleb Williams to go over on his uh, passing yards of 227 and a half as well. Take a look at some rushing yard props here. They do like Anthony Richardson today over 38 and a half rushing yards. They're projecting him to have 60. Caleb
Good luck.
Williams over, 19 and a half. They like him to get 30. And take a look at some receiving props here that Rhythm likes. They like, let's see here. Oh, they're fading the public here, Lonte. You mentioned Franklin. They like the
Mhm.
under 30 and a half. They're expecting him to have 22 in this game. And that I'll leave it at that there. So let me see interceptions thrown if there's a nice plus price here for us. They like Jared Goff to throw one. He's at plus 145. Also, they yeah, we'll leave it at that. So I think the best price there is Jared Goff plus 145 for him to throw an interception. All right, that is going to wrap it up here for this edition of the Propcast NFL Week 8 pregame show. Lonte, anything else, my man, you want to mention before we get out of here?
Nah, don't, man. Just best of luck to everybody, man. Hopefully we have a decent day and we hit one of those parlays because I think it's time. I think our time is coming.
Yeah, 100%. We've been getting pretty close here, but again, we got 2 touchdown parlays for the games here on Sunday. So check those out on the playback there for NFL Week 8. All right, make sure you guys follow my guy Lonte over on the Twitter machine at XXLonteXX. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. More importantly, make sure you guys subscribe to the Propcast here on the YouTube channel as well. And hopefully it is a profitable week here for us with our prop bets, and hopefully one of these touchdown parlays does get to the window for us. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off, and always remember to let it ride.